What's up, everybody? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. I am your man, your boy, A.D. Walker. Appreciate you guys rocking with us this morning. Um, let's see. It's Freestyle Friday. No game today, no game today. All my podcast people, I appreciate you rocking as well. If you're on Apple, Spotify, Google, anywhere where you listen to this podcast, make sure you rate and review. Um, Make sure you're a part of our community as well. Text brothers to 84576. Text brothers to 84576. And be a part of the movement. Movement and then some. All right, hold on one second. Let's see. Why am I getting people here? Why are we here? And I'm live. Why are we here?
No, look, that must have been
Why are we here? Yeah, that should be this should be on the screen.
Everybody good?
Yeah. What's my brothers was calling me. Why are they doing that? I don't know. They should be here. What's up, Lisa? Good morning. Great morning to you. All right, we're getting the shenanigans have started. So, today we are talking about everything from. Let's see. Let me get this up here. Let's see. We're talking grits, filibusters, Dr. Seuss, the cancel culture, and more. So we want you guys to be a part of this conversation this morning. Hey, Mama Corey, great morning to you. Thank you for rocking with us. Let's see. Put these here. Because it's Freestyle Friday and everybody coming in. Feel free to contribute to this conversation. Boom. Whatever else you may have going on. Let's see. The phone is like ringing and I'm not sure why. All right. So make sure you share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. If you're on Facebook, definitely tag somebody to be a part of this conversation. We appreciate you, as well as make sure you share. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, rate, and comment. My YouTube is going up some. We're getting more people watching. I'm excited about that. So excited. So I appreciate you guys as well. Boom. What's that? What's up, Terry? The shenaniganizer. I don't know who hit the call. Like right now. So today's Friday. So listen, like I put up, did I put it up? I thought I put it up. Bam, we're talking about grits, the filibuster, Dr. Seuss, and the cancel culture. Because there's quite so many things happening this week. All right, so without further ado, what's up? Good morning, V. Great morning to you. Like I said, make sure you share. This is your opportunity to share. And we're going to kick this off without further ado. And we're going to get into it and discuss quite a few things. Because it's Friday, y'all. It's Friday. I'm so excited. See it in my face? I'm excited. All right, we are back. I didn't want to catch that. Good morning. Welcome to another edition. Good morning. What's up, everybody? All right. Welcome back. All right, let's see. All right, Mr. Goodson in the building.
Hey, bro.
Is that you?
My fault. It's on me, guys.
All right. I got a lot going on this morning. All right. Whew. All right.
Blessings, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. All right. So, got a lot we can talk about.
Yes, sir.
What's been on your radar this week? Like, what have you seen that you just like? Either this is crazy. I can't believe this is still going on. Why are we talking about this? Right? You know, it's Friday when your house phone rings. Right? Nobody has that number. Nobody.
Wait a minute. You just moved there.
I don't.
No. That's your phone, not Terry's.
No, yeah, that's my phone. Yeah.
I know you're supposed to. That's a good way to start it off. When's the last? How many people have house phones still?
Right.
I should have one, but it's been so long since I use. It's like you got a house phone, no, I got a cell phone. You got a house number? No, I got a cell number.
Cell number, right. Listen, I got and I only got it through the cable people because they were like, it's free upgrade. And what's crazy is, without it, the cost of my cable cost of my internet goes up.
See, that's how they get you
shenanigans.
That's how they get you into that bundle. And then they try to talk you into keeping it.
Right.
Like, nah, I'm good.
Right.
I don't really want it. No.
Right. Like I don't what I need a house phone for. You know, so that it's for the kids when they need to call us when we go out or whatever. So it works out.
Right.
And it's crazy how, you know, our culture grew up on these phones. So there's no instruction. You know, this just like grab the phone, we figured it out. My kids are like, so how do you what?
Yeah, or Bella like, Daddy, how'd you do that? Do that again. I had this phone for almost a year and couldn't figure that out. How you do
that? Right. Yeah. He said, what? Oh, John P. Key singing about sugar don't go on grits. Right. Calling out Kev on stage and Fran Hadman happy rolling. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So,
look, the grits. I think that's a conversation we need to have, sir.
Let's go and dig into it. That's on my list.
I see that. It's the first thing on there, and I agree. As a card-toting Southerner, if you got an opinion about grits and you don't have roots in the South,
right? Take
several seats, please. Didn't that used to be one of your segments on the Brothers Who Talk?
What's it? Oh no, tell them why you mad.
Oh, tell them why you mad. Anybody who put sugar on grits, your mama need I ain't gonna bring your mama.
Don't bring your mama in it. Don't bring your mama in it.
Because we cool and I ain't want us to not be cool.
Right.
But, there's a screw loose somewhere.
Right.
You're a few bricks short of a load. The elevator don't go to the top of the building. Your taste buds are infused with some bad stuff. The only thing that belong on grits, and I know Terry gonna back me up, and I know. Look, when AD agrees with me on this, it's canceled, and we're gonna go ahead to the council culture and mix it with the grits. If you put anything other than butter, other than not sugar, you almost had me saying sugar, salt, the other end.
The other end.
Butter, salt, pepper, cheese
on it. Gotta get some cheese on it.
That's about it.
Right.
You can put some other little exotic seasonings in there if you desire it. But sugar is not one of those. Sugar belongs in Kool-Aid. Not grits.
Right.
Terry, say that again. And I said what she said.
Right. So Terry, what's your opinion on the sugar and the grits? I kind of know where you stand, but go on, let the people know.
Okay. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of inside information on me. I don't eat plain sugar on my grits. However,
not Terry. Hey, Fee, you gonna have to take his North Carolina card.
However,
said it with her chest.
I do put jelly in my grits, and that's only if I don't have any cheese or salt in the grits.
Oh, you're trying to hook it up. That's the hook up.
I've done that before, Terry. I ain't gonna lie, but I done it by mistake, and I kind of liked it. Right, Mama
There you
Corey.
go, Mama Corey. She does not go on grits.
Hey Terry, look. So here's how it happens. Hey, you gonna make me? Okay, so I was in the Army. I was a young private,
Okay.
and I was in the barracks, and the Army gives you what they call a meal card. Well, back in the day, it may have changed now,
Right.
which gives you access to the dining facility for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I went in. Growing up, we ate grits, eggs, maybe sausage, maybe bacon, but that was the breakfast.
Right.
And then somebody's like, "Hey, can you grab me a couple pieces of toast?" And I was like, "Okay, I grabbed you a couple pieces of toast." I was like, "What kind of jelly you want?" It was like, "Just bring whatever's on there." So I picked me up a piece since I'm bringing him a piece.
Right.
Rubbed it on the bread. And where I'm from, we kind of mix the eggs and the grits and the sausage all together anyway.
Right.
So I had my mix spoonful of everything.
Right.
And then I bit the toast.
Mm.
And I was like, "Ooh, that tastes kind of good."
Right.
But I won't put sugar on. I don't care how good the sweetness tasted with the rest of the
grits.
grits. I ain't putting no sugar on my grits.
Listen. I was in the different military. I was in the HBCU, South Carolina State University.
Oh, you was at State?
Yes, indeed. Orangeburg.
No wonder you so. That's the connection.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
So so you know the if you ever had the privilege of going to a HBCU, especially back in the 90s, yeah, we got stories. So the grits were like to run. I wasn't really a grit fan, so I did try. I was like, let me try this sugar thing, and I was like, no, that didn't go well together. Didn't go well together. So yeah, so anyone that come for me that like you never tried it, yeah, I've tried it because when you get creative, when food ain't tasting the best, you're like, let's see, what else can I put on here? Because trust me, I became the oodles and noodle king. I think I've done every style of from extra seasoning to hot sauce, to different hot sauces. Look, cold. I can put sugar, cheese, shrimp, and salt on grits as long as it has butter.
It's gotta have that. It's gotta have butter. Because if it don't have butter, right? If it don't have butter, you gotta put something else in there. So I will.
You got like a rock.
I love grape jelly, right? So I just put it in my grits too.
Now, I ain't mad with the jelly, Terry. Okay, let me take back because I had some animosity when you first started talking because I just knew you was about to say some brown sugar or some kind of sugar.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, hot sauce and cheese on the ramen noodles.
Right.
But I'm not mad, but I'm intrigued that AD said oodles and noodles because
oh yeah.
Some people just call it top ramen or ramen.
All right.
But when you say oodles and noodles, you remember the $5 for $1.
Yes. Oh yeah. Most definitely. You said that butter gives the smooth taste, right? Because if without butter, it's just grit.
Oh yeah.
You realize why it's called grit.
Yeah, the butter is the blending agent.
No doubt. All right, so we can continue the grit if anybody pops some comments. But let me ask you guys: have you guys been following the Dr. Seuss situation?
I haven't.
All right. So what's you guys' take on Dr. Seuss? That was hilarious.
I mean, everybody is getting all up. Now, this is just from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Everybody, trying to get ready to counsel this dude. From what I've read is that there are 6 titles that they are going to take off the shelves.
Right.
Dr. Seuss that had the stereotypes and all that in there. So they're ready to just blank off on Dr. Seuss and counseling him. I'm not familiar with it. I do remember reading some books.
Let's see.
There's 6 of them. What we're talking.
Yeah. Let's see. Hold on. I just looked it up. CNN. I should have kept it up by code. There we go. Good job, Google. Remembering my business. Appreciate you. Sometimes it comes through when Google's in your business.
Right.
Let's see. Let's see. All right, cool.
Google help you get some deliverance sometimes.
Okay, so the 6 books are, and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street, if I ran the zoo, Elligott's pool, on beyond zebra. Remember, these are Dr. Seuss, so yes, I'm saying them correctly. Scrambled eggs super, and the cat's quizzer.
Well, one of them sound like it might could present a problem.
Right.
To think I run a zoo, that sound like it could, but I don't remember them enough to have an opinion about them. Now, if somebody put green eggs and ham on it, I'd be like, huh?
That's the thing, though.
Right.
That's the thing, though, is that these titles, 6 titles, nobody ain't even heard of. It's like
right. So where's that thing? I had a quote. I was, someone was trying to cancel Dr. Seuss, and we thought about they like Disney, and I was like, you know what? Disney ain't clean. Disney been around way too long to be clean. It's right, and like Sam said, those are books from 1950.
And what did you expect from 1950s?
Right. So Disney, Disney has the Disney Plus channel, so they released all of their old stuff. And it's funny. So I was like, what did Disney do or say? Did they just not show these films? They did. But what they did with putting out these old films, they put, like you have a parental advisory. For them, they use this term, and I was like, that's pretty interesting. It said, warning, these films have outdated cultural depictions. Let that sizzle, let that marinate. Outdated, and I put it up as a post just to see if anybody else had seen it. One of our brothers is Matt Kinney. He remembered reading the article about the outdated cultural depictions. He said, right, it's like those Looney Tune cartoons not airing episodes like Five Black Crows singing like slaves but dressed like barbershop crew. Right. Outdated cultural depictions, because a lot of that stuff was the norm back then.
Absolutely.
It was the norm. It's like, even we saw stuff, we didn't really trip because it was just what it was. That of course, if you try to come out with something like that now,
it's a problem.
Right.
And it's blatant disrespect. And it's like, this is exactly how I feel about you
right now. Right. So we understand some things of history. We understand these are things of the past. We understand what they are in their context. So the whole cancel a full library of stuff, because of certain books or certain things, they still play what's that movie?
They play a lot of stuff.
What's that? The Birth of a Nation, the original. That still comes on AMC. Like, and they know it was total propaganda. They know another thing is a total lie. Like, it's just
are they going to cancel Cleopatra?
Right.
Because Elizabeth Taylor showed African. Right. But ain't nobody canceled Ben-Hur yet. I mean, all these.
Right.
Let me tell you what this has already led to, though. Ad, I'm finna show you something. Now, how much does a Dr. Seuss book cost? If you get a good one, how much it costs?
I could say maybe like $10, 10 to
okay, and if you really want to,
they're really like tiny, they're not big.
If you really want to ball out on a Dr. Seuss and get an amazing gift, how much you think you might pay for one?
Maybe like 25.
Okay,
25.
Keep that in mind. Okay.
Oh, you just hit the.
Where'd it go? Okay, here we go. Okay. Can you see that? Can you see the price on that joker now?
Wow. Yeah, they try to really juice it now.
Look, hold on. Look at that.
Wow, 2,900. 550. Wow.
And these are the ones from the cancel list. So all that's happened is canceled by one culture,
Right. It just bumps it up. I mean,
$2,900 for a
could
Dr.
you
Seuss book?
could you imagine if they got the one of the one of those books and have a signature from
Right.
Dr. Seuss? Whew. So what about the black people, right? In the Ten
Right.
Commandments,
Ain't nobody canceled that stuff yet.
right?
Cancel something that matters.
Right. Let me go shop my thrift store. So right, right. You gotta
I'm
get
telling
there
you,
now.
you know there's some on the shelves right now.
Right now. Right now. They probably behind some other books. You know, they've been sitting there for months or years.
When it comes to Dr. Seuss, he's like, is it Visa? Everywhere
Right.
you want to be. Dr. Seuss is there at the flea market, at the thrift store.
Right. Oh,
Walmart.
he said, so they're still trying to pacify us in every other way to avoid giving us reparations. I think, listen, I'm not all caught up in even the whole Aunt Jemima thing. I'm not caught up in all that. Like, come on, man. I mean, I thought Aunt Jemima was fine. She represented that time. Like it wasn't a disrespect. Like she wasn't an old looking slave. She was a nice young woman.
And that wasn't my problem with Aunt Jemima. My problem was that the person who depicted her wasn't eaten.
Right.
That's what my problem comes.
You know what they did? I think it was them. They settled.
For $225,000.
Right.
They settled for less than a month of profits back in the 80s, maybe.
He said, "Oh snap!" She said, I'm on it. I'll give the show 5% profit for letting me know that my next I know that's right. I know that's right.
5% of something is better than 100% of nothing.
Nothing, right?
Yeah, damn.
I mean, I'm with you on them, like, because it is a depiction of a relative or someone they knew or that was part of their family. Yeah,
right.
That is kind of rough to be like that. He said, I was just going back and forth with someone about this. They're trying to compare WAP with with books. Yeah. They said that's where the money resides, right? So, yeah, that's. I mean, I don't know, because like, okay, so taking cultural depictions, is and music, they're different. They're different kind of fights,
right?
Because the cultural depictions back in the day, they were purchased by everybody. They were purchased by those that, of course, that didn't look like us, that had no reason to be offended. What up, Jason? Good morning, my brother. And then with the music today, it's purchased by those that are depicted in the music. Like, if there's a cancel culture on that, it's gonna take those that purchase, because I don't purchase music like that. Like, I don't, and my fam don't purchase music like that. Now, unfortunately, it comes on the radio, but that's the DJs, that's the people that push it out, but they push it out because people listen to it.
Absolutely.
We need to cancel the stations that play stuff like that. But it's a constant forcing into our culture. It's what's being pushed on us.
Let me ask you this, AD. When it comes to cancel culture,
right?
Who are we talking about exactly? Are we talking about influencers who don't like something? Like, for instance, if Charlemagne the God and his platform at the Breakfast Club, or Wendy Williams and her platform, is it people? And then people get behind them because everybody knows them? Or is this like, hey, we sick and tired of this, and it's like more than 50% of us feel this way, so it got to go?
Right.
Because I've seen people try to cancel stuff that I'm like, what are we canceling that for? Like, really?
Right.
Like, I know that might not be kosher, no pun intended, but it's like, we canceling that?
Right. Let's see. Listen, I was like, the people who voted WAP as the #1 song are not the same as those who decided to remove the books. Probably so. She said that makes sense. Yes. Hey, good morning, Cheryl. Happy Friday to you, my friend.
What's going on?
Jay said that's what I'd like to know too, because I think it's people on both sides, right? it's it's what you support, what you listen to, because we know everything, every listening to is a notch, is a view,
Right.
so we have to just be mindful of what's coming out. I think, I don't know. So let me tell you, yesterday, just for clarification, so everybody knows where I'm at, like, what? So yeah, right, the bandwagon, that too, we'll get into that.
Absolutely.
The bandwagon effect. Hey, good morning, Keita. We went to eat, and I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, I'm close to Atlanta, so we went kind of into Atlanta to eat like lunch. And we were in a club like setting. It's a lunch spot. They had a an early happy hour was going on. We didn't know. We just found it online, and we went. And so they were
was
thumping
it a happy hour, or was it like half off milkshakes and half off daiquiris?
It was kind of like that, and the happy. So it was, yeah, and it was like it's the middle of the day. But anyway, in Atlanta, they get down. So we were there, and a lot of music was playing, like a lot of the current stuff, and it was like crazy. I mean, I really felt like, oh yeah, right, it was way too happy hour, right? So it was, and WAP came on, and I never really, like, I've always heard the beginning. I never listened to it, and I was like, wow. And then a lot of other songs kind of matched the same though, like they were like WAP from Men. Like it was just, and all of the songs were kind of falling into the same range in a sense. And I was like, man,
that's where we at right now. When I say we, I'm talking about the culture, not me personally.
No, I get it. Yeah. I get it. And I was like, that's interesting. And so it's as the song was playing, people were singing it. I was like, and they knew words. I was like, yeah, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, look, bro.
Having the old moment, like, man.
I was in Walmart last Friday. I went shopping last Friday, and this child couldn't have been school age because they were with their mom in the store.
Right.
So you're talking 5 and below.
Wow.
Talking 5 and below.
Right.
Either she was out of school because I don't know, or she definitely went home doing online schooling, so she had to be under 5. I'm just assuming.
I got you. Okay.
But this little girl, I don't know. I just know the beat for what. I know the beat. If you ask me, if you put a gun in my head and told me spit 4 bars and you died, I'm dead. I'm done. This little girl under 5, she was sitting over there, and I'm just like, I don't even know those words.
Right.
I mean, and she wasn't saying replacement words. She just wasn't saying the words.
I thought she had the Kid Bop version.
No, she was just like, okay, I'm gonna just make some words up. She was like, if I see AD in it with me, I'm gonna buzz his head to the white meat. She was doing like that. And I'm like, she's smart enough to know she's not supposed to say that word, but she knows this song. It would break my heart if one of my daughters started singing.
Right.
I ain't even talking about a 19-year-old. I'm talking about the young ones.
Listen.
From 13 down, if one of them started singing those lyrics, anywhere they ever went, I'm blocking. I'm blocking all of their friends. You can't talk to them no more. You can't play with her no more.
Right. That'd be with my daughter. Like, I'm like, who you been with? Because like I never played that. I don't like if I listen to the station that may have it. If it comes on, I'm turning. Like if I'm listening to Steve Harvey or something, it comes on, I'm turning. But that would be my question. I'm like you. I mean, how they with the corona contact tracing, like who put you in contact with this, So that would be, that definitely would be my question.
Ashley said Triple X and Trick Daddy. I never listened to Triple X. I think is that the dude that died, that got killed?
I think that maybe possibly.
But Trick Daddy. But Trick Daddy, I grew up on Trick Daddy. When I grew up, when I was growing up, Trick Daddy was hot.
Right.
And I think sometime in high school, Nan Ninja came out. And when Nan Ninja came out, look, we knew every last word.
Right.
But I tell you, here's the difference. My kids have never heard that song with me. Like my two of my daughters live in Florida. And when we would drive around or when we were driving across country from one military base to another, and I listen to Trick Daddy, they'd be inside getting food and I'm outside pumping gas. There were just certain things certain things you just didn't do. It's not. I'm not even going to sit here and pretend like our generation is any better than the generations now or the future generation, because we all had our issues that made the generation that came before us look at us like, y'all see, that's what's wrong with the world right now, y'all. And we do it too.
My parents didn't like hip hop at all, because hip hop was new for us. It was a new thing altogether. And my introduction or how I got caught up, well, I won't say caught up, but how I listened to it, of course, was like video, Yo MTV Raps.
Downtown Julie Brown, 5 Freddy, Dr. Dre, Ed Lover.
Called parenting, right?
Facts.
And yeah, Ed Lover, Dr. Dre, and listening to hip hop on radio. Back in the day, of course, it was like it was only Friday, Saturdays at 11 to like 1. Before gained popularity, before Puffy, pre-Puffy. Let's see. So we have all had variations in our true. It's some variations.
And I can go back at least to the 60s with that.
Clarence, Clarence
Carter?
Clarence Carter. I keep saying Thomas. Clarence Carter.
Clarence Thomas might have been in the same boat. He just wanted a singer. Ask Miss Anita. Let me stop. Let me stop.
True. True.
Have you ever heard of Marvin Seuss?
Marvin Seuss. I might know a song, but no, I don't think I know.
Well, you probably heard it. He got his most popular song is called Candy Liquor.
Okay. Yeah, I think yes.
But that ain't his raunchiest.
Right. Wow.
And I didn't even know what that was until I was an adult. And I was like, man, my mama used to listen to the song at the barbecues. And I was dancing to it. I was like, I got to find it.
Right.
And I listened to it. And I was like, wow. I was really sheltered because even though he's not being blatant in the music, you got to be a dummy not to know he's not being blatant.
Right.
But I guess we were at a different place. But
some songs you don't. It's crazy when you was younger that you listen to. Then you listen to now like, oh, okay,
right, yeah.
Because
Because he made a song in '76 called "I Ate You for My Breakfast."
Right.
And I was like, my mama she loved him, and she had all of his records, not tapes or cassettes. She had all of his records. But I never heard that song until I was grown. So I think that she would listen to it, and because one, it had a subject that didn't come out and say what it was. They listened to it in the background.
My mom loved this.
See, I'm telling you. Kitty, you must be born and raised in Georgia because that's Southern soul at its best right there.
Wow. So the cancel culture, I guess, is it just and like Sam said a few comments ago, the bandwagon effect. Kind of everybody jump on it. So like when it comes to certain things and everybody watching, what I ask you to do is just either do your own research, look at the situation, make your own judgment. Because even and of course I put and more, even some of the racial issues, right? Like somebody go to a restaurant, somebody I think what's the last situation about a tip, a black couple got charged a tip, a white couple didn't, and now they're trying to boycott the restaurant, but the way the situation is looking, it's looking like it was the waiter, not the restaurant.
Right.
And it's like, okay, let's fire the dude. Let's not cancel the restaurant because it wasn't his fault. It's all about, who's the real perpetrator, and you always like, and with everything, you watch enough movies like it couldn't happen here because this one had to approve it. And this, like how far does this go up? Right. And if it just goes as far as the employees, it's like, it's not the company, it's the employee. Let's get clarification. And then some things aren't racial. And my problem is when too many things become racial. Like my wife was saying yesterday, was like, yo, now it's like crying wolf, because then when there's really something, now it's like, oh,
Oh, man. Oh,
y'all
this
always
again.
crying racial. like no, this is legitimate. This right here is legitimate.
And I think we have to get to a point where we put things on a scale, because some things may absolutely be racial,
Right.
but there's different types. And here we go. We're going into the weeds, brother.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so what I mean when I say there's different types, this
Yes.
is exactly what I mean, right? So if you're in a restaurant, let's just say Cracker Barrel.
Okay.
You in Cracker Barrel, and let's say it's the group of you guys that went to the cabin, right?
Right.
Y'all stop at Cracker Barrel for breakfast on the way home.
Right.
And a hostess comes in and says, I can't find anywhere to sit these people. Or do you people want to sit in the same group? How do you take that? And then what are the levels to it? Is it racist? Or is she conditioned that way, but she doesn't have a racist bone in her body and she just can't help it because that's the way she...
Because it could be in the context of these folks over here.
Right. It could be.
Right. These folks here and these folks who look like her, just these folks. I mean, I get it. Like the triggers.
So then you got to dig into it. Like where is it really here? Because in high school, I had a moment where I almost had a moment, and then I quickly realized, no, she's just an old white lady.
That too. Sometimes though, right?
This woman was born in the early 1900s, before the teens of the 1900s.
Right. I got you.
And my mom was her personal nurse. She worked 3 days out of the week. I'm a 15-year-old kid. I just got my driver's license. My mom was like, here's the keys. You just got to pick me up from work. And she was like, you can drive. And I was like, I can drive? Cool. Bet. Say less. I'm there. I got you. What time am I supposed to be there? 3:45. I'll be there at 3:30.
Right.
I get there early. And this lady, her name, Miss Inez, she was born in 1908. She was to sit in a wheelchair in the front room of the house and look out the front window and wouldn't do anything else. So as always, I knocked on the back door. My mom was upstairs. She didn't hear me. And I walked in the house and I was like, Mom, I'm here. Don't be scared, Miss Inez. It's just Miss Katie's son. And she did a little thing with her wheelchair. She rolled it back and she saw me and she said, Kate, there's a little ninja boy in the house. There's a little ninja boy in the house.
Oh.
And I'm just like, this old biddy said what? And then I was like, wait a minute.
Wow.
She older than my grandma. She ain't got, this is how she was raised. She too old to know any better now. This is what it is. And I just went and waited in the car. But they're moments.
I mean, that's tough though. So Sam said, I don't care. I don't know what her thoughts are. More than likely I'm out. Probably would still eat at the crack, but not that one. I mean, I get it. Like, I think there should be like, and I mean, I know she's old. Sometimes correcting is going to take a couple of days to correct her. But I mean, I believe in not letting it go, understanding, but having like, yo, we don't use those words. And, like, we don't talk like that anymore. And it's funny. Like I remember some years ago, when I was at Costco, I had a lady, young lady. I was helping her with something, and her mother was in the back, and she had made some kind of like sexist woman comment, like a woman's place or whatever. Like that. She looked back at her mom, and I looked at her. I said, "See, she's the one holding y'all back."
Right. Not me.
She's part of your struggle because they got the old way of thinking. And I remember one time
on you. Right.
I remember one time a guy was in the line. I think he was white. Like, and this wasn't about race. He was like had his kids. So someone was like, "Oh, look, daddy's babysitting the kids. He turned back. He's like, I'm not babysitting. I'm raising my kids. These are my kids. You know, it was an older lady. You know, he was like, yo, these are my children. You know, like,
right.
You know, just and it's correction. It's correction of old thinking. You know, but he said, "What? He said, there ain't nobody calling me an into my face. My mom would that day.
I knew you was a gangster. I knew it. I knew you had some thug tendencies.
Man. But so yeah, I think it's you know, like if it's old publications, old videos, old things, we know that's just what the norm was. It doesn't make it right at all.
Right.
But it, you know, anybody that has the attitude to speak that way, they need some correction. You know, like and like you said, a lot of times is being more sensitive because it's like, yo, we don't talk like that no more. You know, we don't call those people like, what's the word, chinks. We don't call them that. You know, that's it's not right. We've realized that's offensive. You know, like it's moving the language. And like I said, Disney's approach, I was like, that's pretty. They covered that. You know, this is like, you know, it's outdated norms. What's up, Deborah? Good morning. Listen, I struggle with this at the point to stop correcting. I don't want to say nothing, but these old folks aren't going to change their opinions.
They're not. Sadly, they're not. And there's not a whole lot you can do about it. You get mad in those situations, what's going to happen? You beat grandpa up. I mean, you throw the hands at grandma.
Listen. If you watch watching All in the Family, you know, Archie Bunker and Meathead always going at it. He's like, yo, he said, Archie or Pops or whatever he called him. He said, you can't say that. He's like, you can't say that about people. You know, like we don't say that anymore. You know, so I think that correction of what's been normal has to be changed. It has, you know, you gotta say something. And they hear it enough, maybe they'll change. You know, like, yo, that's offensive. You know, we don't say that anymore. All right, what up, Cole? Cole in the building to add a little bit to this convo and the cancel culture. Yes, indeed. What's up, brother?
AD? How you doing, AD? How you doing, Dwayne?
I'm good, sir. Yourself?
I'm doing really good. Good.
That's what's up.
So what's your opinion on the whole canceling culture? Getting rid of all old publications and books and videos. He said, listen, they may not change it, but every time they open their mouth, so would I.
Patience, Sam. Right. Patience.
Wait, did I miss the birthday today? Oh, Deborah's birthday. Oh,
happy birthday, Deborah.
Birthday to you.
Uh-oh.
That's all I got. Happy birthday.
I thought you were going to go through some runs. Like,
I was about to say,
Little Sam gonna cancel me if I do that. Sam is going to cancel me.
I was about to say, go ahead, South Carolina Luther.
with no curl.
I thought you go hold.
Oh no, not complete with the Wanye head nod when he was trying to force them runs out.
You got. That'd be sad. If I could sing, that would be me too. Though I can make it different. He said they come out.
He said warm knuckle sandwiches.
I just shot warm knuckle sandwiches, not the warm knuckle.
He said warm. Look. Jason over there waiting. Jason like, go ahead. Mm-hmm. I know you're trying to go. Go ahead. I wish. Ooh, I wish you would. I wish.
But you know, and we talked about this. The wish you would, like, you know, having that chip on your shoulder where you just come into a space where you almost not, you don't want it to happen, but you want it to happen.
Hey, look, I ain't gonna lie.
Well described.
I'm safe, but I ain't gonna lie. In the back of my head, sometimes I have to cast that thought down. I have to cast that imagination down.
Right.
Because I swear sometimes I walk around, I was like, nah, these people right here cool. I like all of them. But I wish one of them would say something stupid. Say something. Just please say something stupid. Right. Ooh,
Right.
Oh, y'all at the Capitol talking all that noise. Okay.
Right.
Come
Right.
up in
He
Walmart
said,
with that
"Hey,
crazy. I wish.
I'm short. I already have a pretty big chip on my shoulder."
I feel you, Jason. I feel you, homie.
Hey, look, just remember this, Jason. Napoleon was a monster
Right.
Sure was.
until he crossed the Rubicon.
Right.
Yep.
So just don't take it too far. Is what I'm saying.
Right. So what's your take on it, Cole?
So you're talking about cancel culture. Well, it reminds me of the John Mellencamp song called "Pink Houses," but people remember the song with the refrain "Ain't That America?" And it's just like America. We do things until we get tired of doing them. We don't do it to success. We do it until we just get tired of it. Right. And it's not necessarily just money. It's, I mean, you look at before George Floyd stuff. You know, when you had
take your time.
When you had athletes speaking on it, and of course you had Colin Kaepernick kneel. You had the former president of these United States call those players sons of bees.
Right.
You know, and because of it, it fueled a political thinking. Right. It fueled a side, and it just kept snowballing till you had one time Laura Ingraham of Fox telling LeBron shut up and dribble.
Right.
And it just keeps feeding on itself.
Right.
And then when you see the almost 9-minute choking of death of George Floyd back in late May of last year, then you start to see the opposite happen. You started to see these boardrooms probably influenced by one or two black shareholders they have in them, to say, you know, this stuff that you used to promote, I think you need to stop doing it.
Yeah,
and it started to go the other way, where you started to see a lot of things getting pulled. So I look at cancel culture as with the Twitter level, people's rights to basically be a thug on the keyboard, and nothing else.
Right.
Yeah. They don't say it with their chest, they say it with their fingers. Exactly.
Right.
And on a larger level,
and
on a larger level, cancel culture is a simple way of, unfortunately, justifying a lot of stuff. And sometimes it could be minuscule to say, yeah, that's inappropriate, take that off. Or, yeah, that's inappropriate, don't sell it. Or, yeah, that's inappropriate, don't say it.
Right. Keyboard warriors, right?
Absolutely.
So Ashley says, so hypothetically, of course, let's say that we cancel everything from history that is offensive, politically incorrect, etc. So now everything is perfect. We look at the history books, everything is great, right? Do you think that could happen in the future, or will they find something to complain about? There's always going to be something to complain about, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Can I answer her question?
What I was about to say, AD.
Go ahead. Answer that.
The typical U.S. history book is an example of your question. And I'm going to say that again, because I want that to sit in. The typical U.S. history book in schools throughout America is an example of the extreme that you're talking about. Because how much Black history do you get in those books?
About 2 pages.
Right?
If you're lucky.
The only people you know about from school is Martin Luther King Jr., Frederick Douglass, Maya Angelou, maybe Langston Hughes.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 or 4 more.
Right.
Typically speaking.
Right.
How much Nat Turner do you know?
Right.
How much W.E. Du Bois do you know?
Right.
You got to watch a movie to find out about Fred.
Right.
I mean, how much Stokely Carmichael do you know?
Right.
Well, Harriet Tubman got a movie now, you know. But
we knew Harriet. We always knew Harriet.
Harriet gets a sentence.
Right.
The thing is, they've put yay much in there to say, hey, no, you're part of history.
Right.
But they canceled out everything else.
Right.
They canceled out, oh, we ain't finna stay slaves, so we finna do 126. Well, no, let me take it. I think it's 71.
Right.
between 1621 and 1865, I think it was 71 different slave revolts.
Wow.
But how many of those have we known about?
Only one, maybe two.
And here's another one. Me and my wife figured out some history and didn't even realize the Caribbean, a lot of those people who we say wasn't slaves. Well,
yes, they were.
The Bahamas, a part of the Bahamas was populated as a result of the Stone Old Slave Rebellion in South Carolina. Right. Now, these slaves were part of I hate to say this word, but for lack of a better term, they were a part of a batch of slaves from West Africa that were actual soldiers. Right. And they won't have no chains. So they fought back. And as they fought back and fled, they eventually settled along the coastal areas of Florida, then eventually found their way into the Bahamas. But we don't know these things. Why? Because Ashley's statement has already happened. It was just the other side of it.
Right. You fortunate because the only four black people I knew of in the history books was Christmas addicts, Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King,
addicts,
and Frederick Douglass. Those are only four in the history books I ever read of black people I knew in the books.
Wow.
Everything else I had.
They said he was the first to die. They ain't say nothing about him fighting, did they?
No.
My bad.
No.
I ain't starting that.
You're right.
I stay ready to drive my car up to the front doors at my daughter's school.
I feel you.
Well, people warriors. Sam said everything would never be perfect. We can't change the past, right? Unless someone can figure out how to cancel slavery where it all started, it's pointless. We should be focused on what's happening now and how to stop it from continuing in the future. Police killings, voter suppression, attack on women. Yes, indeed.
Here's the problem with that, though. You have many people who love to live in the past. It reminds me of an interview that John Madden had with Bill Belichick, where the Patriots just got finished winning their third Super Bowl in 4 years. And this is the first game of that next year. I think it was like 2005 season. And Madden asked the question to Belichick. He says, oh, you've had all this success year after year after year. How is it that you keep having your team have this success and not have a drop off? And Bill basically just said, quote, if you live in the past, you die in the present. Close quote. You have too many people, especially of our own culture, who love to live in the past.
Right.
And you had to get people out of that mindset of living in the past.
Right.
And that's your issue, and that's the problem.
Right.
And I like it.
Right.
I like it a lot.
Like it a lot. He said, listen, I am black in the Texas school system are not allowed to call slaves migrant workers.
I couldn't remember the term, Michael. That's exactly what I was going to bring up. It's now in Texas schools that you don't even call them slaves. Yeah. And that was instituted sometime last year.
They call them employees.
Wait a minute. So
I think it's either migrant workers or indentured workers. Something of that nature.
Indentured service or something. Indentured, because that's a whole. That. But then that's a whole other context. Yeah, that's
right.
Like.
So I'm confused. I'm trying to figure this out.
Volunteers.
Really. So we're talking about slaves, right? We're talking about pre-1865.
Right. Yes, sir. Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute. So what are they going back and changing articles of succession from all these Southern Confederate states? Because they use the word slaves in their articles.
I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually do that too. But yeah.
Oh, talking about revisionist history. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Okay, I have to say that. Stop calling it Black history. It's white American interpretation of Black people's approved contribution. Wow. I have to say that. Stop calling it Black. Wow. That's interesting. It should just, I mean, honestly, like, it's American history.
It is.
And that's what, and I think it's so funny in the fight that we have that, it's like an inclusion with exclusion, like you're not talking about it. So we need to get our own segment. But then at the same time, it's like, this segment is part of the whole thing. Like, let's go down the line, right. What happened here? What happened these years? What happened these years? It's all together in one. and not a separate event. So I think that's where we lose, because we it's like, are we separated or are we together in this?
Oh yeah, it's not, because like if this is what I say, go back to the moment. Let's find a date where we say this is when America became better. Right.
The overdue W4 to the right.
Let's if you can point to a time in U.S. history, like, and say this is the time where it wasn't horrible to be black in America. This date, you pick any time. But 1920 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, it wasn't a bad time to be black in America. I mean, pick a date, pick a time.
Right.
And if you can still call it black history as opposed to American history,
right,
from that point on, just separate every single thing and every single contribution. Right. Give us back all those Olympic gold medals that made the United States so dominant. Right. Give us back all those star athletes. Give us back the blood transfusion and plasma. Give us back the helicopter. Give us back shortwave radio. Give us back refrigerators. Give us back the cotton gin.
And respect to you, Mr. Goodson. Give us back all the soldiers who fought and died for this country.
Right.
Facts. Who in Mississippi and Alabama, when they came back from World War II, German captives.
Yep.
Hear that part. Captives.
Right. Yes, sir.
Because they were white, were able to eat in certain restaurants.
Say it.
And black soldiers had to still go to the back, the back door.
Say it. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
yes, sir.
I'm not about canceling anything. I'm not with the cancel culture. I'm with the shed light culture. I just call me just call me the light man, because I just want to turn switches on. I don't want to cancel anything, because if you cancel it, it has the ability to show its head again because you never dealt with it the first time.
So
can you imagine cancer? Can you imagine how many? Have you heard stories about people going to the doctor and they went to the doctor early enough to be able to receive treatment for certain cancer, but the doctor misdiagnosed it and said it was something else. It was actually this, or oh, sir, it's not skin cancer. We think you got this, this, and this. Try some of this, try some of that, and come back. So people get tired because they go back to the doctor, nothing happens, and then oh, sir, we're so sorry to let you know that you just went into stage 4 colon cancer. And you got 2 months to live. No, let's not cancel that. No, let's expose what happened. So we don't ever go back to that again.
Right. You're right.
I love that. Not a cancel culture, exposure culture. I love that.
Exposure culture. There you go. So let me ask y'all this, right? So we know that there is always an underlying plan to always keep us divided. And this divide, I mean, is not blacks and blacks, but blacks and whites. Like and I feel like it's pressed sometimes in the media to prop up the anger. And I know this is kind of hard and touchy, and people like, because I remember Jay Hamilton put in, we will never, what he said, we would never be equal or with our oppressor.
Right. I would never want to work with my oppressor.
Right. And I'm like, I get it. If they're, like my last name's Walker, the Walker Plantation, that dude, he's probably not the nicest dude, or he may be. And it's great because I had this side conversation with my wife, and listen, I always say that because we always talk about a lot of stuff. There have been points where like, all right, no more talk. No more talk about this stuff. We just go chill out and relax. We got to chill conversation because we talk about all of this stuff. So
let's go back to a happy place.
Right.
Yeah, let's table saving the world for a minute.
Right. And I'm gonna sound like Kanye West, and please don't take this one little segment and run it all over the internet. But
oh Lord,
slavery everywhere, probably like every plantation probably wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst, like, because they probably treated them somewhat humane. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a thought that slavery everywhere was like horrible, and I'm not saying slavery was good in any way, shape, form.
No, but you're absolutely right.
It's forced labor. So
Well, at least you
he
didn't say
probably
it was
had
a choice, so that's good.
right. They didn't choose.
Now that's Kanye.
Yeah,
Yes.
they didn't. But it may not have been horrible everywhere, right? There were
Right.
some that may even looked at it like, is this right? You know, like, I know this is culture, but is this right? You know, like, you know, before they probably became abolitionists, you know, like, is this right? You know, like, I can afford this. I got them, but is this right? You know, he said, "Here comes the fourth."
but to your point, AD,
Yeah.
to your point, historically speaking, you want to know what one of the worst threats you could receive as a slave? We're gonna sell you down to Mississippi.
Wow.
No, like literally.
We're
gonna sell you down to Mississippi. So there was places like you're a slave, and it could be a whole lot better.
Of course,
but like, it could be a whole lot worse too.
Like people that are criminals, they know. Like, I know what prisons I don't want to end up in.
Right.
like I'll commit crime here. Like, we're gonna ship you. Can't put me over there. I didn't even commit the crime over there. You know, like so.
Right.
I get and
I agree.
prison slavery, same but not point. Oh, but the so I say that. She said, well, at least you can temporarily travel, right? I will say with because I say that I say all that to say this the working with your I don't know like the oppressor that's so sticky because
it's a broad
right
term.
because even those that voted for Trump, even those that want to see a different America, not like a racist America, I think some voted for Trump because he talked about not only the Make America Great Again, but the breaking away from the rest of the world, like taking care of America. Some of that rhetoric, resonated with people. And all and they don't hate black people. They just want to see a better America, maybe. So I know like I can't believe we defended that, but he's out, so I'm gonna talk about that. But there are some that they do want different. They have nothing against black people. They just want to see. They might want to see a unified America. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I do.
It does.
And I think to focus your statement a little bit, my problem was never with anybody who wanted a better political system as far as finances and international relations and bringing jobs back to America. You were not my point. My point of contention was when it came to the way you saw or you see America going, the injustices that you still see and nothing being spoke on, and you align yourself with Christian values. That became my rub. So the oppressor in general, when people say it normally means white people when you stereotype. But I think that has to go a little deeper because the people that I had an issue with that voted for Trump were the ones that completely 100% without a shadow of doubt lack empathy.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, they probably couldn't have, and then on top of that, no sympathy.
Right.
So it was their situation being void of those two things.
Okay.
Now, if you say, look, I like his economic policies. I'm glad that somebody's pulling us out of all these foreign nations. And
right.
However, we got to clean up some stuff at home, and this ain't right. This is making all us look bad. I got love for you. I got love for you anyway, but I ain't got no problem with you.
Right.
This is again, ain't that America again? I hate to go back to that refrain, but this is the truth because Americans that look like the ones who came to conquer the land and kick the Native Americans out of it. They want to continue to have life as they see it. Black issues, brown issues, yellow issues, red issues. Forget that. I want if I'm the white American, I want my home and my area to be the pristine thing that I remember when my parents reared me, when my grandmother talked about when they reared my parents, and so forth and so on. I want my situation to be sanitary, clean, and status quo and no issues,
right.
I could care less about what happens outside of my front door.
Right.
And you have, well, and we saw it this past November, you have 80 million people who think that way.
Right.
So this is America, right? And we can love it or leave it all we want, but you have to understand, come to terms with it, and in a lot of ways circumvent that.
Right.
But you have to be at home with the fact that many Americans want to have what they deem to be America to remain the same. And unfortunately, many of them happen to be evangelicals.
Right. So let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Finish your statement.
I was basically going to say where the cross, and I'm not talking about Jesus, I'm just talking about the straight up symbol.
Right.
Means more than anything else.
Right.
I hope it ain't burning.
Right. And yeah, we're praying it ain't burning. Exactly. Right. Sorry about that, AT.
Nah, you good. Let's see. What's up, Zach? Why do you feel like we were being oppressed? Why do you feel that way? Or do you feel we're being oppressed?
You know, I might anger the woke crowd here. I don't think we're being oppressed now.
Okay.
At least I don't think we're being oppressed by white America.
Right. Okay.
I think the oppression is the mirror. That's what I believe the oppression is.
The oppression is
the mirror.
The mirror. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I believe. Now, I'm not saying that that racist practices still do not go on. Of course.
Right.
That I'm not denying that, but what I'm saying is, I recounted a story to you about Lionel Richie one time drinking it from a white water fountain. We don't have that issue now, and that was 60 years ago.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
We don't have those issues, so I can't say that white America is putting the foot on our necks now, or to the degree of before.
Gotcha. Okay.
But we're seeing the crabs on the barrel mentality still exist today,
right?
Where we are putting the foot on our own necks, and it may not, and it may not just simply be I'm putting the foot over your neck, AD, or your neck, Dwayne, or vice versa.
Right.
Sometimes the proverbial foot on neck is your own foot being put on your own neck.
Right.
And I think we have hampered ourselves far too long because we believe in the boogeyman of the man too much. Mm-hmm. And we believe that in the oppressor too hard.
Right.
I mean, it's time to just simply, well, I hate to say pick yourself up by the bootstraps. That sounds so
I hate that. Yeah, I hate that term too.
But it's time to be self-sufficient. It's time to not blame anybody else for where we are. It's time to blame ourselves for where we are and build ourselves up from there and build a coalition to help one another lift each other up.
Nice.
This is how I sit, and I know we're getting close to time. AD, you're a football fan, right?
I don't know about AD. I know I am.
Yeah. He is.
Okay.
He is.
And I know you a Giants fan, being from the New Yorker that you are, which is going to make perfect sense when I talk
AD.
about this. See, but this is going to be a shining example of what makes New York fans proud.
Okay.
Every quarterback who's ever played a position probably heard a story about Lawrence Taylor.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Lawrence Taylor, arguably one of the greatest football players ever, not just defensive players.
Right.
But this is to your question about are we oppressed today? See, America is the game of football, and the president, quarterback.
Right.
Generally speaking, a white guy, good looking, come from good stuff. Everybody love him. Outside of the organization, love him.
Been groomed to the position all his life.
Right. And then on defense, you got people, Carson Banks, Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White, just Deacon Jones, just some monsters ready to kill you, tear you apart. So Joe Theismann recognized the power of, and this is me talking in a parable, if you will.
Okay.
So this is not me having one of those anti-white rants, so please don't misconstrue it as that. Yeah. But if you take it, are we being oppressed? In the 80s, Lawrence Taylor broke Joe Theismann's leg.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And the system saw how dangerous that was. So the system started to make adjustments. Mm-hmm. One of the highest paid positions on the field now is the left tackle.
Left tackle. Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to the ability and the ferociousness of Lawrence Taylor and how he took one of the stars of the league and treated him like he didn't exist.
Wow.
And it was legal. It was clean.
And it was completely legal. So interesting. That's kind of like what we possess. We kind of possess that Lawrence Taylor type ability, right?
Okay.
Naturally. And put in circumstances where all things being equal, a vacuum, if you will.
Right.
Joe Theismann is the result of what happens when we are unleashed without restrictions.
I got you. You feel the game, the rules change.
Right. So fast forward to Tom Brady.
I love that.
Can you hit Tom Brady like you used to hit Tom Brady?
You can't even
can you hit Tom Brady like Lawrence Taylor hit Joe Theismann? Wow. Absolutely not.
Wow.
You be out of we got to take you out of the game. We're going to suspend you. We're going to take your money. We're going to make sure you understand your place. Now, does that stop the Ndamukong Suhs when he first came into the league, the Ray Lewises when they came into the league, the Aaron Donalds and the Khalil Macks now?
Right.
They still can play the game. We just have to learn the system.
Right.
And when you learn the system, you still can be. Look, I guarantee you, they're not as afraid as they were when Lawrence Taylor stood on the other side of the ball because there was no rules to protect them.
Right.
But now that there are rules,
right?
You can call it oppression,
right?
You can call it equalizing the field. You can call it whatever you want.
Right.
Fact is, there's some things that are there, but if you continue to hone your skills. Right. And perfect who you are, can it be stopped? Absolutely not.
Nope.
Interesting. All right. Oh, Mike said some interesting stuff. He said, I just had this conversation with my mother. We from Charleston, South Carolina. Wrong is still wrong. So the woman that my grandmother worked for was nice and left money for her. There are degrees of slavery. Yes, indeed. I agree with that. Read the 12 Years of Slave and tell then that in need to forget what happened. They want us to stay. They wanted unwoke Americans. True indeed. Mike says
this comment right here.
There are levels of freedom: a cage, a zoo, a sanctuary, but all those places still have fences. We don't want more space to move, but true freedom.
That statement right
yes, sir. 100%.
Okay. We're gonna get. I'm gonna get to that. I know we run it. It's fine. We just got an extended one. Makes perfect sense, and we need to unite as people. Oppressors need to go on every level, from small business to U.S. government. We need to love all people equally while respecting each other's cultures and stop hiding the truths of the past, no matter how uncomfortable it makes people. Indeed. Sad part is that they forget what a Christian literally means to be Christ-like. The oppressors are us. They oppressors are ourselves. Too much negativity on a daily basis. Zach says everyone is being oppressed by the 1%, just that they get to pay less taxes. Says it all. But I mean, there are ways around that. But white people are so controlling that they think they have so much privilege. But I'm white and I don't receive any privileges. I have my reasons why I divorced the white society. Don't get me started. He said you can't even breathe on Tom Brady and. Stomping on people. Oh, okay. All right.
Ndamukong Suh. Yeah.
Let's see. So the freedom. So do you not feel like it's free to roam around this country, or free to be or live just about anywhere? I mean, I know there are still some spaces where you'll be having to stake your ground like it's the 1960s. But for the most part, do you feel like there is that freedom, or no? Do you feel like we are still kind of restricted? Now, I will say my travels has always been up and down the East Coast. So like I've not traveled farther into the West, as maybe just as far as Illinois. So I will say that's my travel, like road wise, has been that's my limitation, just up and down the East and a little bit to the West.
Well, since we want to have you have New York examples, AD, I'll throw another one at you.
Yes, indeed.
Wow.
Now, you remember back in 1989, a brother by the name of Yusef Hawkins.
Yes.
Now, for those who don't know, this young brother, who actually is my age, or was my age at the time, he walked into a Brooklyn subdivision called Bensonhurst.
Yes.
And you all know Bedford-Stuyvesant or Bed-Stuy. You know, we've heard many rappers brag about that subdivision, right? Well, think about Bensonhurst as the opposite of that. And so he gets killed and slain because he just happened to be black and in the wrong area of town.
Oh, he in Alpharetta.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That is only 32 years ago. This isn't, we're not talking the civil rights era.
Right.
We're talking the era where H.W. Bush got into office and Reagan left.
Right.
That is the time when this slaying happened. And New York supposedly is the most diverse, the most open, the most welcoming city. I'm talking about in terms of thought.
Right.
In the whole country. We're supposed to embrace everybody. New Yorkers. So you have your white and black cultures, and you have the other cultures within whites that's embraced, and you have, of course, the Latin culture that's embraced all in New York.
Right.
But you had those issues still happening, and I'm quite sure that here we are 3+ decades later. You still have issues roaming into an area like Bensonhurst if you're in Brooklyn, and you're looking like you have your head on a swivel.
True.
I mean, there's areas where I live,
right,
and I live about 15 miles from downtown Nashville. In the city in which I live, I can drive 5 minutes, roam into that neighborhood, and I can see the stars and bars fly on top of the roofs of houses.
Right.
So, to answer your question, AD,
yeah,
we can feel as though we have the freedom to roam,
right?
But you got to know your head still, even today, even March 5th, 2021, your head still has to be on a swivel.
Right. I agree with Cole. I've been to 48 of the 50 states.
Okay.
And most of them I drove through. And I will say that literally the only place I've felt nervous driving through, it was based on the previous understanding that I had of these places. So the first 5 times that I drove from Arizona to the East Coast,
right,
I got gas before I got to Mississippi. After I passed Mississippi, I always make sure I didn't have to stop in Mississippi for gas. Wow. Now, and it was because of the history of Mississippi. Right. Because when I actually got past that and started to meet people in the military from Mississippi, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Right. But that, like Cole said, I could feel things. Mm-hmm. And even in those places where I could feel something just was a little uneasy, the thing that I noticed was, as long as I had a cheerful conversation with whoever, even at the stores with the jacked up, the 38, the 32, 33, 34-inch lift kits with the stars and bars. Even when I stopped at those places, I realized having a little, hey, how you guys doing? The weather's kind of good out here today. Y'all got any fishing going? Just right. But then again, this is me and my personality. Right. I probably made them just as uncomfortable as I was. But I'd say a lot of places, they don't see us just as much as we don't see them.
Right.
Because it literally, I used to see people get a little uncomfortable, and then they would see that, oh, I was a soldier, and all of a sudden I was a good guy. Like literally, like everything. When they found out I was in the military, I was airborne. I just came back from a deployment.
Right.
I was okay, and I didn't have to worry about anything. But that feeling was still there. Gotcha. But to speak to that, to the comment that he made about cage, zoo, sanctuary, they still fences.
Right. That's good, Michael.
This is the way I see that. When it comes to the enemy, and when I say the enemy, I'm not talking about physical. I'm not talking about white people. I'm talking about Satan. I'm talking about Satan and God's plan for our life. When it comes to that enemy, right?
The real enemy.
John 10:10 tells us what he comes for.
Right.
And that's specifically 3 reasons: to kill, steal, and destroy. Now, let me ask you this, AD.
Yes.
If you knew that a Mike Tyson in a Riddick Bowe body was your enemy, but you found him when he was about 10.
Right.
But you knew that was your enemy.
Right.
Would you want to fight this dude when he come to all of his full potential?
Of course not. Of course not.
So this is how the enemy sees us.
Right.
He understands who you are once you've been molded, and who, and the gifts and the purposes and the callings that God has put in your life.
Right.
But here's the rub. He understands that you Riddick Bowe with Mike Tyson's skill set and strength. Mm-hmm. And he understands that he's like Spud Webb, and he ain't gonna win the fight.
Right.
So what he does is he catches you while you're immature.
Right.
When this isn't fully formed, and he can address and make adjustments here.
Right.
So I hit you when you're a kid, or when you're angry, when you're still growing, when you're still learning, and I introduce you to an image of who you are.
Right.
Now I don't ever have to worry about fighting you ever again.
Right.
Because you're fighting with that image of not enough, not smart enough. You didn't come from the right stock. Your family came from slavery, or you from a poor town in the South, or your daddy was a drunk, or your mama was this. Right. So you're stuck fighting that image. Mm-hmm. That's why we stay oppressed. I'm not saying that we don't have boundaries and borders keeping us in certain places, but if you became who you actually are supposed to be, you realize that those boundaries are nothing more than something you probably already got a key to open anyway. True. Or something that you in your strength can just push away, you know? Right. So yes, opposition, and oppression exists.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But this right here, the way you see yourself will ultimately dictate the type of life you have in this world.
To borrow a line from Pete Rockasiel Smooth, many of us live in the ghettos of our mind.
Right.
Yes, sir.
That's good. That's good. All right, guys, we are over time. I appreciate you guys rocking with us, hanging with us, and it's Friday, so definitely we'll be back next Monday. Listen, if you are new here, we appreciate you. Let us know your name and where you're from. Make sure you share, tag. There's still an opportunity to tag somebody. And if you want to stay abreast of everything that we're doing, I want you to please join our community. Text brothers to 84576. Finish the sign up. Text brothers to 84576. Because right now I know you see us a lot online, but this is not just a regular broadcast. We're a community. We're a movement. We're pushing something. We are trying to move our narrative further. We're trying to get out of our old way of thinking. And like we spoke about, the oppression of your mind, and to do some greater things. And we can do this together. We can do this together.
Yes, sir.
So
happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So is it your birthday? Is it your birthday? Your birthday week? Your birthday month? How do you view this birthday thing?
Yes, indeed. Appreciate you, Michael. Thank you, sir.
That's for you, Cole and AD.
Oh. There it is. Oh, yeah. Don't play that too long. They'll cut us off on YouTube and Facebook. So,
hey, what you talking about? We got CL Smooth right now.
Right.
I reminisce for a sorry.
Thank you so much, Mama Corey. Like I said, definitely join the community, because we got other things that are happening outside this broadcast that we want you to be a part of as well. So don't worry, I won't text you a whole lot. Okay, maybe once a day during the week
bad.
for our broadcast. Right? It's not a whole bunch. I promise. So yeah, text community, join the community, brothers to 84576. Text brothers to 84576. All right. He said Cole does have that voice.
Hey, look, he can get grammatically correct, eloquent on you.
Right. Just like that. All right, guys. We look forward to seeing you Not tomorrow. Monday. Same time, same channel. Be blessed. Stay safe. Know that we love you, but God loves you more. And just stay vigilant. Yes, indeed. All right, guys. See you next week. I didn't want to catch that. Good morning. Welcome to another episode. Good morning. Everybody.